Welcome to another episode of Neowolf News. I'm your host, Neowolf. This episode is going to be the first in a three-part series where I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into the OBS Studio software. So in this episode, I'm going to cover how to download OBS and get it installed on your computer. And once you've done that, we're going to take a look at the interface, including how to add scenes, how to add sources, which can be cameras, audio devices, images, a browser page, or even a screen capture. We're going to look at the audio mixer and look at some filters that can be set for your audio, as well as some properties. And we're finally going to look at scene transitions and different types of transitions that you can put. So let's get right into this. So to download the OBS Studio software, go to obsproject.com. And when you get to that page, you're going to see right on top that there's three main buttons that you can choose whether you have Windows, Mac, or Linux. So depending on which operating system you have, you can select the button that is appropriate and then run through the installer application and get the program installed on your computer and open it up so that we can look at the interface. So this is the OBS Studio Interface. And as you can see, there's two screens up top. One has got preview above it, so this is the screen that you can transition in, and the other side is the program area, so this is the output side. And you see in the middle that there's a transition button, so I would click that to transition from my preview to program, and I'm going to stay in screen capture mode, so I won't do that right now. And then underneath that, it shows the type of transition that you have set, so I have a fade at 300 milliseconds. And then you see down here, there's a slider. So this is like the T-bar slider where you can slide and kind of peek into your scene and transition it at the pace that you want. And then if you slid it all the way over, it would actually do the transition. So now let's move down to the bottom area of the interface. And you see on the far left side is where it says scenes. And so the way to add a scene is with the plus button at the bottom. So click that plus button. And then the window that pops up is asking you to name your scene, and I'll just go with scene 2 and click OK. And so now you've got your scene created, and you see there's also a minus button. If you click the minus, it's going to ask you, do you want to delete the scene? And I don't. I'll keep that scene for now. We're going to build that scene. And then there's arrows, so you can move the scenes up or down and get them ordered in any way that you want. So let's move over to the area just to the right, which is the sources area. And again, on the bottom, there's a plus button. So if I click the plus button, we see all of the various sources that can be added. So it can be audio capture devices, a browser page, color source, image slideshow, screen capture, like what we're doing right now. You can add text to a screen. And then there's the video capture device. So I'm going to click on that one because I'm going to add a camera. So if you're doing this for the first time, you can name your camera whatever you want, and when you click OK, then you're going to be able to select your camera and adjust some of the settings for the camera. And we'll look at some of the stuff in the next episode. But I'm going to select Add Existing and then select my Logitech camera. So that will bring that camera into the preview area. And then I'm going to create my scene like I usually have right here in front of you. So I'm going to click the plus button and I'm going to go to image. And if you're doing this for the first time, you can name your image whatever you want. And then when you click OK, it's going to give you access to your file system so you can bring your image in. But I've got my images already here. And the nice thing about OBS is it always saves your settings the way that you last had them. And so I'm going to select the curtains and add that. And you see that the curtains, when I add it, goes in over the camera, so I can use the down arrow to move the curtains behind the camera. And then one more element is my logo, so I'm going to go back to image and go add existing and select the logo and click OK. And you see that the logo came in rather large. So if I go to the logo and I right click on logo and I go up to transform and then go to fit to screen, that gets the logo sized appropriately. And again, it is over the camera, so I can click the down arrow to move that into position. So that's how I set up my normal scene for my podcast. The next area to the right is the audio mixer area. And you can see that the mic or auxiliary is showing that we're recording sound. And you can use this slider to adjust the volume of the sound to make sure that you're not peaking your sound. And I usually like to get mine into the yellow. It can go up to the red, and it seems like it's okay, especially with this pop filter on the microphone. And so I want to look at, under this gear, we can get access to filters. So here's some filters that you can add to your audio. And there's many more. If you click the plus button, you can see that you can add compressor, expander, gain, limiter, noise gate, noise suppression. So you can play with these and see what kind of effects you like on your audio settings. But I'm just going to close out of this. And I'll click the gear one more time, and I want to go into Advanced Audio Properties and show that here you can set the volume up or down, so you can add or decrease the gain of the volume. You've got your balance settings, so you can set more to the right or left channel. The sync offset is important, so if you're going to want to run a test video and check how the lip syncing is with the audio, and if it's out of sync, you can adjust that here. So as you can see, I've got a 400 millisecond offset to help my voice be in sync with the audio. And then there's the audio monitoring area. So you have the option to have your monitor off. You can have monitor only and mute the output, or monitor and output. So I keep monitor off for my auxiliary, and then on the desktop audio, I have monitor and output so that if I'm going to do an interview, that I can hear the other person, or if I'm playing a video, that I can hear the sound from the video. So I'll close out of that, and then we're going to move on to the next area to the right here, which is the scene transition. And you can see that I have mine set to fade, and there's different options. If you just want to do cut, that's going to be a instantaneous cut. You can do swipe, where it's going to slide across the screen. You can add a swipe, add a slide, add a stinger, add fade to color, or add luma wipe. And I'll just demonstrate one of these. So if I'm going to add a swipe, I'll just let it be called swipe 2, that's okay. It's going to come up to this screen where you can preview the transition, so you can see how that swipe would go. And I'll just cancel out of that too. And if I want to get rid of this swipe, I can use the gear and remove the swipe. Click yes, and get this set back to fade. And then the last thing I want to point out is over here on the right side. So you see that it says start streaming. So out of OBS, you can stream out to various platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Periscope, and many others. And you can stream to many at the same time. And then where it says stop recording, if I wasn't recording, this would say start recording. So that's the button that you would push to start your recording. So now you've gotten an introduction into the OBS Studio Interface. You know how to download OBS and get it installed on your computer. You know how to add scenes. You know how to add sources, including cameras, audio devices, images, browser pages, or do screen captures. You know how to monitor your audio and add filters if you like, as well as some of the advanced properties and being able to offset your sync on your audio so that your lips and your audio are in sync. And we looked at scene transitions and different types, as well as how to start your recordings and start your streams. So if you like content like this, you can follow us on social media at NeoWolf News, and I'm on Brighteon, BitChute, Rumble, YouTube, as well as Gab, Twitter, and Facebook, and Parler, now that Parler's back. So thanks for tuning in to this episode, and we'll see you again soon.